All right, so without further ado, let's go to our next author, Tamela. Tamela, the Zoom is all yours.
Hi, I am so happy to be here. First, I want to just say hello, good afternoon, and happy holidays to everybody. I am Tamela Todd. I am a mental health coach and author of Emotions of the Mind. It may be a glare there, but this is the cover of the book. In my book, I share about my story of how my father was clinically diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and how your family member's mental illness can affect your mental health. And that's what I go by, because a lot of people don't understand the difference of mental illness and mental health. Mental illness is something you have to be clinically diagnosed for. Mental health is something that how we manage our emotions on a day-to-day basis of different things that happens to us or impact our lives. It was important for me to share my story. I'm piggybacking off of Ms. Hunter, as she was saying, you know, what goes on in this house stays in this house. I have a chapter in my book called The Hush Factor. And it was therapeutic for me to write my story, but in the back of my mind, I constantly thought about, what is my mother gonna feel? What is my aunt gonna feel? And I had to come to a realization that every time you share your story, you're helping someone else, because somebody else is going through, has went through that same thing, and they need your story. That's why we have so many books all on the shelf. So you might as well share your story too. And I noticed since I published my book, I have impacted a lot of people. I call it my resource guide, because inside my book, I share different resources, just like I do on my website. Because back when I was growing up in the 80s, we didn't talk about it. We didn't know what to do. And I think that was a lot of things with my mother. She didn't know what to do for my father. And by me being the only child in the house, you know, I'm thinking this is a normalcy, but I took that normalcy over into my adulthood, which was very toxic. I also share in my book the importance of going to therapy and not being ashamed of therapy. And no matter what you're going through. I tell people all the time, if it's childhood issues, if it's adult issues, married issues, never be ashamed of therapy. It's something to help you. So I'm just, again, excited to be here. All of the authors are very informative, and I just want to share that piece.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? You're welcome to wave your hand or put your question in the chat box. How about Tamela, are you working on anything else? Have any books down the road that you're thinking of?
Yes, I wrote another book last year that I released called Self-Care for Entrepreneurs. That's something else that I promote, because sometimes as entrepreneurs, we get overworked and we don't realize that we need to set boundaries between work and life balance. So that's one book that I wrote last year. And I'm working on another book called The Health Benefits of Tea, because tea relaxes you. It gives you different health benefits, sleep, anxiety, depression, and those things.
Awesome. I could use your book about entrepreneurs and balance. Take some tips. Any other questions? How can we find, oh, DeAndrea, go for it.
Just a quick question. I was wondering if the family member that you write about, I think you said was your dad, is still alive, and what his response may have been to your book.
He never had a response to my book. Yes, he is still alive. His siblings are the ones who have a lot of resentment for me writing the book. But I have to handle that with a grain of salt. It's still, I didn't do it for them. I did it to help others that went through the same situation as I did.
Do you have any advice for anyone who's in a similar situation, writing, again, their own, if you would, therapy, because writing is therapeutic, but any advice to anyone else that's thinking of writing their story, regardless of what others may have to say about it?
You have to just go for it. You can't look at the fact of what others may say. You go for it, and keep in mind that you're helping another individual. You're going to help thousands of other individuals. And that's just what we all go through something in order to either start a conversation or to heal someone else. And sharing your story will impact and heal another person.
Where can we find your books? Where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram under Coach Tam _ and I am on Facebook, author Tamela C. Todd, and my website is www.tamelatodd.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tamela. Like all the books, Tamela's books is in the chat box, so feel free to check it out.